eat the minge. Eat it. That's why I want a return to traditional values. Let's get kids shagging. Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sorts Your Life Out, the show where I sort your life out. I'm not a physiotherapist, not a psychotherapist, not any type of therapist or doctor, which means that you know that I know what I'm talking about. I'm an expert, mate. Good to have you all in. All the boys, all the girls, everything in between. No, there's only two genders. Get it. But yeah, so whatever you believe you are, welcome one, welcome all. I promise I'm never going to start talking about politics, but I'm going to talk about politics, albeit very briefly. Your things are kicking off in the Middle East, and that means only one thing. Well, obviously it means lots of things, but it means we're now going to have demonstrations every week. Every week there's going to be another demonstration. Do you know what, mate? I don't want my country back. I want my city back. I just want to be able to go into London, walk down the road. If somebody's not walking quick enough, I'll walk past them, I give them a little bit of the stink eye, and then I'll go on and do what I'm meant to do with my day. But that's what's going to happen now. Every road is going to be blocked off now for months every Saturday. It's doing my nutting. It's doing my absolute nutting. And I'll tell you why, right? Because I'm a millennial. You hear that, Jack? A millennial. A real man, not like you. I'm confused about who I am. Let's spend 12 hours a day on TikTok. Anyway, right? That's a fair impersonation. Stop getting upset, right? So, I'm a millennial. We marched against the Iraq War. I marched against the Iraq War. 1 million of us took to the streets. And then we did it. Did it solve anything? No, of course it didn't. No demonstration ever has done. Unless you start going and having a riot, mate, like during the poll tax. That's how I'm not advocating for this. This is a satirical channel. Turn around, headbutt a police. No, don't. It's satirical. It's comedy. It's a joke. Anyway, so they're going to be going out every week. Every week. Mate, have you not got something better to do? Have you not got hobbies? There's football on, mate. There's football. There's rugby. There's loads of stuff that you can do. You can get on the Caremin. You can just get in a K-hole. Create some stories. Make some memories. Go out. Get smashed. Get hungover. Go out. Maybe go out, take your bird out. Have her sit there. And you're there going, why are you still talking? I just want some peace and quiet. Why are you asking me about the film? We saw the film together. Maybe if you hadn't have spent all your time on your phone and then asking me what was happening, and then the person behind me started shouting at me because of course it's my fault. It's always my fault. We wouldn't be here. You could be enjoying that. That's life. But no, every week another demonstration. It's like, come on. You've got a limited amount of life. Do you want to go every week? You see, this is a problem with young people, right? You stop drinking, you stop taking drugs, and now you're into politics. And that's it. That's what you do now. You're into politics. I mean, look, when I was young, who were into politics? The kids who were into politics, they were called gimps, mate. That's what they were called. Nobody wanted anything to do with them. Nobody wanted to interact with them. Nobody went, oh, do you know what? We're in a party. There's some fit birds over there, or there's some blokes over there. There's drugs everywhere. There's pumping beats. You know what? Let's go. Let's talk about the Middle East. No one did that because we were fun. We're enjoyable. And every week there's going to be a demonstration, and nightclubs are closing up and down this country. There needs to be a new drug. Look, I get it. Kids can't, the cost of living crisis has come in. Things are tough. We need cheap, accessible drugs that gets people off their nut and high and having a little bit of love and doing a bit of shagging. It's the only way we're going to solve this. It's through shagging. That's the only way. We've got to do it. You know what I mean? We've got to get back to basics. And kids attending demonstrations ain't the way. Oh, look, I'm waving a flag. So, every week, every Saturday, come on. You don't want to get your nails done? Get your eyebrow threaded? I don't know what women do. I don't know. Maybe get your bikini line done. He said, I don't know, but we need to do something about this because it can't go on. I can't be going into London on a Saturday and every Saturday every road is cordoned off. I'm not having it. We can't keep doing this. Come on. Like I've got things. I don't have things to do, but there are things that I need to do. I don't want it to be every Saturday. If it's every Saturday, I don't know what I'm going to do. I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do. I reckon we should just have a rave. We should just basically trap everyone in, right, in central London, coral them in, like pump them full of MDMA via the air, maybe, and then just start playing some banging beats and then start playing a little bit of strobe, and everyone can then start having a little bit of a dance. Maybe that's what we need. Because this ain't working, mate. This is not working. Everyone going on Instagram going, oh, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're talking about. You got no idea. This is what we need. I reckon, Jack, your generation, mate, we need to bring down the price of alcohol. We need to get back to binge drinking. We need to bring down the price of alcohol, slash the price of alcohol. We need to get kids back in the pubs getting smashed. We need to get people start to double dropping. We need to open up the nightclubs, make them free, state subsidised. Let's get kids out there. Let's get kids having fun. Let's get kids shagging consensually and above age. That's the only way we're going to do this. Because them going out and doing their little demonstration, it's not working. It's not working for them. They're all miserable. It's not working for me. And that's the most important thing. And it's not working for the West. All these demonstrations. No. It needs to be something else. It can't be what we're doing now. We need to broaden our horizons. And I'm saying to the Labour government, you need to, because the budget's going to come out pretty soon. And I know Rachel Reeves, she's got a great sense of humour. Look at her face, right? Same with Keir. I mean, he loves a banter, doesn't he? Keir is the worst. Imagine making a joke. Keir would be like, excuse me, I find that joke to have Islamophobic roots and it's utterly unacceptable. I don't know how you can be having a joke about this. Why can't you just make a pun? I love puns. 2 more pints of shandy, please, barman. The worst. See, that was the good days about the Labour Party where you had John Prescott who punched a farmer in the face. That's what I want. That's what I want, a return to traditional values. I want politicians who look like they can punch people and then they do punch people and they mean it. This farmer threw an egg at John Prescott. Prescott turned around, Deputy Prime Minister, hooked him in the head. That was it. And everyone looked at it, read the story and went, yeah, the guy deserved it. Because if you throw an egg at me, that's exactly what would have happened. Anyway, the country's gone to the dogs. I've had enough. There's too many demonstrations. There's not enough getting pissed up. There's not enough shagging. We need to bring back traditional British values. And that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, thought I'd keep it short today because otherwise I'd get upset. And I don't want to get upset because otherwise I'm not going to be able to sort your problems out. And if I can't sort your problems out, then why are you here? Because you're here for me to sort your problems out because I'm a fucking expert, you slags. All right? So bring me your problems. I will sort them out pronto. All right. Dear Francis, I'm a hardcore leftist who believes in wealth redistribution, but I've started making good money in crypto. I feel guilty about profiting off capitalism. How do I justify my success without feeling like a sellout? Well, firstly, well done on actually making money on crypto and being one of the few people to get out of it before the market collapses. The only reason my producer Jack actually works on this show is because he lost all his money on crypto. He invested in a coin called Minge Coin, which he said was going to go to the moon. And actually, that, by the way, that's what I did. I had a coin called Minge Coin, and we set it up, and we were going to promote it, and then we decided that it was probably bad. And I even had a slogan for it. It was called Minge Coin. Bury your face in minge. I mean, what's not to love? I thought that'd be brilliant. You know, we get the straights, we get the birds, we get the lesbians. The only one we wouldn't get is the gay men. Well, you know, you're not going to appeal to everyone, are you? Maybe we could get Douglas Murray to advertise Minge Coin. And that way we get everybody absolutely together. That's probably the way to do it, actually. Great point. He follows me on Twitter. I'm going to message him now after this show is over. Right? So, you know what? Here's the thing. This is what I genuinely think about crypto. Crypto is basically what men do now that they can't get on the property ladder. You can't get on the property ladder, so what are you going to do? You're going to play crypto. It's basically gambling. So what happened is you went to the casino, you gambled, you won a lot of money. Number one, well done. Number two, I feel guilty about profiting off capitalism. No, you just saw an opportunity and you took it. How do I justify my success without feeling like a sellout? Mate, it's very simple and very easy. You have made this money. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you've started making good money. Let's say you're making 100K a year, right, off crypto. That's good money, right? That's really good money. Well, what you've got to do, as a hardcore leftist, what you obviously believe in is redistribution of wealth. It's narrowing the gap between the poor and the rich. And the only way of doing that, as Marx himself said, is redistribute, because rich people are intrinsically evil. And now, my friend, you are evil. You are wrong. You're basically a paedophile. No, because that's unfair, because if you were at the BBC, they'd embrace you, get a job, all the rest of it. But basically now, you are one of the pariahs, and you have now excommunicated yourself from your tribe because you are a success. And what you were really saying to me is, I don't want to admit to my tribe that I am no longer one of them, because if they found out how much money you would make, they would hate you because they believe rich people are evil. And now you're one of them. Well, you're not rich. You're making a few quid. But to them, you're rich because they're all smelly and they all earn less than 12 grand a year. And they can't even afford bath soap. So that's where you are, my friend. So what do you do? And this is what I think you do. You've got two options, right? You either shut your mouth and you don't tell anyone and you pretend to be skint. But eventually, you're not gonna be able to carry that off, because, and I'll tell you why, two things. You're going to start spending money on the odd thing. You're going to start spending money on soap or shampoo. Maybe you're going to start spending money on clothes where it looks like you don't sleep in a bin. You're going to start going, oh, I live in this grotty flat. Why am I living in this grotty flat? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rent a nice gaff. I'm going to rent a much nicer gaff. So you're going to rent a much nicer gaff. And then you rent this much nicer gaff. And all of a sudden, you're going to be like, do you know, I'm making this money. I'm going to invest this money. So you're going to start investing it. And you're going to start meeting different people. You're going to also meet non-leftist ladies who, you know, they're going to be in shape. They're going to look good. They're going to be like, well, I want a man, and I want a man with a bit of a few quid. That's you. All of a sudden, you're going to get together with a lady who's not on the left. She's maybe on the right. So you're going to get together with this lady. And then that's going to create tension, because all of a sudden, because she's on the right, she's going to be probably quite smart. She's going to start challenging your ideas, and your ideas are going to be challenged. You're going to be like, hang on, that idea is bullshit. That idea doesn't stand up to scrutiny. Because when you're a hardcore leftist, like if you're a hardcore libertarian or a hardcore Brexiteer, all of these people, they're separate echo chambers and bubbles, which means they don't interact with one another, which means that you basically have the same conversations and don't have your ideas exposed to challenge. And now your ideas are going to be challenged. So what you're going to realize are some of these hardcore leftist beliefs are actually bollocks. They're bollocks. And you're going to start to stray away from your hardcore leftist ideals. Also as well, you're not going to want to give your money away. You earned that money. Well, you didn't. It's crypto. Of course you didn't earn it. You just fucking scammed it. But let's take that aside. So you've got this money now, haven't you? And now you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm making all this dough. I'm putting it aside. I hope you're putting it aside. What am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with all this money? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to maybe invest, or I'm going to think about how can I generate more money. And then you're going to see your friends who are sitting there moaning, going, oh, capitalism, socialism, blah, blah, blah. And they're not going to be making money. And you are. You are going to start to change, my friend. Success changes you. That's how success works. When things start going well for you, you realize and you start looking at different behaviors. You realize that certain behaviors are positive and certain behaviors are negative. You maybe even invest in a gym membership, start lifting weights, get on the tee like a real man. Then, I mean, if you get on the tee, there's no way you're going to be a hardcore leftist. So all these things are going to start to happen. And then you're going to challenge your friends' ideas. And let me tell you, there's one thing hardcore leftists don't like, and that's having their ideas challenged. If you look at places like Venezuela or Russia or China, you can see that those boys don't like having their ideas challenged. And that's going to happen. So what is also going to happen is you're going to start to drift away from your mates. Basically, you are on the path to being right-wing. Congratulations. But you're going to have to start being honest because, look, no man can live a life forever. Eventually, things are going to start to slip. And you're going to start to make mistakes and you're going to start to make errors. And you are going to start challenging people and you are going to change and they're going to notice you're going to change. And that's when it's going to start getting tricky. Then you'll get excommunicated from your tribe. Then you do an interview on TRIGGERnometry. That's how it works. Good luck. But I'm telling you right now, this is the first step to the red pill. You've made some dough. Don't waste it. Invest it. Use it wisely. And remember, crypto ain't forever. Diversify your portfolio. Buy gold. Dear Francis, my mate is transgender. And while I fully support their transition, I feel uncomfortable using new pronouns and names. It's not out of malice, just habit. But I know it's hurting them. How do I navigate this without sounding disrespectful? Mate, this is a tricky one. So I knew a guy who transitioned. We were friends at the time. We're not friends now. Not for that reason. We just stopped talking to each other because they were on the comedy circuit and then they stopped doing comedy and blah, 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 blah. And I think about this myself because this is my position on trans. I think you can identify as another gender, but I don't think that means that you are of another gender. I think you're either born male or female. That's it. And you're either one or the other. Now, you can take plastic surgery, you can take puberty blockers, you can take hormones, you can wear women's clothing, whatever it may be, and vice versa. And that means that you identify as something different. I don't think that makes you a different sex. It just doesn't. I think that makes you a transsexual person in that you're different. You identify as something else, but you are still of that sex. Now, you also have to have a little bit of empathy here. So, for instance, if somebody has been suffering from severe gender dysphoria, that's obviously an awful thing to go through. It's incredibly profound. It's incredibly uncomfortable. It's not good. So you have to have a little bit of empathy here. But ultimately, you've got to ask yourself, why do you feel uncomfortable using the new names and new pronouns? What is it about it that makes you feel uncomfortable? And you need to be honest with yourself and you need to interrogate it. Why is that? Why is that? Because there may be many reasons for it. Maybe you just feel uncomfortable with not telling the truth. Maybe there are parts of the transgender movement, the political side of it, shall we say, that you feel deeply uncomfortable. Things that I feel particularly uncomfortable with, for example. Maybe it's the fact that you can't get used to this new friend. Fine. You need to be honest with yourself and think to yourself, why is it that you're having such an issue? And also think to yourself, why has your friend done this? Why has your friend identified in this fashion? Why have they identified in this manner? Why have they transitioned? Put yourself in their shoes and think, why is it all of these things are happening at the moment? Have they always been like this? Have they always struggled with their mental health? Have they talked about this? You know, it's very difficult with friendships because, I mean, not as extreme as this, but part of friendship is watching the people you love change. It's all relationships. It's part of the people you love change. The person you get married to when you're in your mid to late 20s, early 30s, whatever it will be a vastly different person to somebody in their mid to late 50s, for example. You go through different experiences. You become deeper. You change. The problem comes when the change that this person has gone through is damaging, unhelpful, or maybe, and this is another thing, maybe you just don't have as much in common with this person as you used to have. When we grow as human beings, the friends that we used to have, sometimes you grow with them, but sometimes they no longer become friends because you diverge, you go down different routes. I remember I had a really good mate at school. He became a lawyer, he became a corporate lawyer, he was living in that world. I was doing like drama and theatre. And we once went out for a drink and we realised we had nothing in common with each other anymore. And obviously that's sad, but that's life. You grow, you develop, you change, you have to. Otherwise, you're staying the same. And when you stay the same, you're stagnating and you're not moving forward. And when you stagnate, that's when you start regressing. Because if you stay in the same place, right, fair enough, you can stay in the same place, but the world is going to change around you. It always does. And you're going to end up being one of these people who's like, why is the world changing? It's terrible. The world changes, which is basically me a lot of the time. But you've got to change. You've got to develop. You've got to get better. You've got to move forward. You need to get better. And you need to look at this new person that your friend has transitioned into, and you've got to think to yourself, do you still want to be friends with this person? Be honest with yourself. Do you still want to be friends with them? If you don't, that's fine. If you don't want to be friends with them, that's fine. If you do want to be friends with them, then you've got to accept certain things about them have changed. And look, I get the discomfort. I get the discomfort because when people say I'm a woman, I'm like, no, you're fucking not, mate. You're not. But I try and have empathy for people because life's fucking hard. And people make mistakes and people are going through stuff and people are suffering and all of this. So you have to have empathy at the same time whilst realising that there is such a thing as the truth. And that is a really difficult path to navigate, and it's really hard because you don't want to hurt or upset your friend who is obviously going through their own stuff and is struggling, but also you need to be honest with yourself and think, is this something that you want in your life? And if it's something that you can't accept, then are you still going to be friends with this person? And I personally don't think it makes you a bad human being if you go, you know what, like, this just ain't for me and I can't cope with it. But if you love your friend and you want the best for them, maybe you should have an honest conversation and an uncomfortable conversation and go, look, what is actually going on here? How long have you felt this way? How long? You get to the bottom of it. Because at the moment, this person has transitioned, but it sounds like you don't know why. And if they're a really good friend to you, I think it's important to investigate and to understand why. What is it? Why have they done this? It's a really extreme thing to do. Like go through, for instance, top surgery, if that's what they've gone through. I hate the term stop surgery. It's a double mastectomy. We need to be honest about it. This top surgery is, it makes me really uncomfortable. You need to understand why this person has gone through this. And it's only by understanding will you be able to get some peace for yourself and you can process it. Because otherwise what you're doing is a surface level of analysis. And when you do surface level analyses, you're never going to get to the heart of the situation. You need to sit down with them. You need to have a full, honest and frank conversation. You need to ask them why they're doing it, why they believe in it. And then you can start making your own mind up as to whether you're going to use their pronouns, their new name, or maybe this is too far for you. And at this point in life, you're struggling to accept it and you can't accept it. And again, that is fine. That is fine because you need to, it's not just about their comfort, it's about you as well. It's a really difficult thing to get your head around. I've never had this happen to me. I've had friends come up to me and go, I'm gay. And I'm like, oh, fucking, I know you're gay, mate. Look at you. I mean, come on. Really? Like, one of my best mates, she came out to me as gay. And I'm like, you've been wearing boot-cut jeans since you were 15 and boots and not wearing makeup. Of course you're gay. It's fine. Great, crack on. Eat the minge. Eat it. But you've just got to ask them why they're doing it. I really think so. And just remember that you've got to divorce the political side of it, which is obviously everywhere. And to this person as a human being, and they were a really good friend to you. And you just got to investigate it. And then after that, you make your own mind up and you see where you go. Good luck. Dear Francis, my boyfriend has started using his phone during sex to watch porn and it's making me feel invisible. He says it's no big deal, but I feel like I'm competing with pixels. How do I get him to focus on me instead? Do we know if it's a boy or a girl? We don't know. Right, okay. I mean, what this sounds like is that your boyfriend has got a porn addiction. That's what it actually sounds like with this. When you watch so much pornography, and this happens quite a lot actually, you're unable to bring yourself to climax without watching porn. So when you have a real person in front of you, whether it's an adult human female or an adult human male, it becomes, because you're so desensitized with the pornography, it becomes impossible to achieve sexual pleasure, to basically come, is what I'm saying. And that might be what's happening here. So your boyfriend is having sex with you and maybe he couldn't come. So he used the phone, then he's able to come. And then what it is now become is a crutch that he's depending on through the sexual experience. But this is really bad. And I can imagine, and I feel sorry for you because, no, it's not the right word, sorry. I feel real empathy for you because it must be so kind of dehumanizing that the only way he can bring himself off is by watching a phone whilst doing it. And you've got to have a word with him. You've got to take him aside and go, hey, we need to have a conversation about this. We need to talk because this isn't a good way of doing it. It can't be that he's on a phone watching some other woman or some other man. Like, what is he watching on there? Like, is he? So he's having sex with you? Are the sounds coming out whilst he's doing it? Is he starting to? Are the sounds coming out? Is it going to be moaning and groaning? Are you competing sound wise? And obviously as well, you're a real person and real people. It's not porn where there's, that it's on a phone and it's going to be, makeup, lighting, camera angles. So you're not going to get the little jiggly bits. And also it's a performance. It's not real life. That's the point here, is that he's engaging in an act which is about connection, and it's about the ultimate connection you can have with another human being, and he's watching a performance of the connection. And I think what you're really upset about is because he's been disconnected from the act itself. And that's bad. That's really bad. And I can understand why it's making you feel invisible, because his focus is actually on the phone. It's not on you. So he's basically watching the phone and using you as a fleshlight, which is not good. It's not good at all. And to me, that's not having sex. That's using your body as a receptacle, if I can be bluntly honest with you. And I think you need to sit him down and have a really honest conversation with him, and a real tough one, and go, look, I do not like this. Because if you don't address it, then what's going to happen is this is going to build, and it's going to build, and you're going to get more angry and more frustrated, and it's going to start rankling you. And then it's going to get to a point where it's like this huge, angry, like pustule of resentment, and it's going to burst, and you're going to break up. But you need to have a very honest conversation with him, and you need to ask him how many times a week or month, or how many times a week he watches porn. Because what it is sounding like is that he is actually If he's not addicted to it, he's very close to it because it's got to the point where he literally can't have sex without it. And that is very worrying. Very, very, very worrying. And you need to confront this, because if you don't, like I said before, it is going to ruin everything. But you might find that if you start talking to him about it and you start confronting him about it, that actually the dam may burst and he may actually tell you he's really worried, or maybe there's things going on at work and he uses porn to escape like other people use drug and alcohol. Because the thing is with pornography is that it releases dopamine in your brain every time you use it. So what you do is you get hooked on the dopamine. So you're going from clip to clip to clip to clip on your phone and getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. But that's not how love works. It's not how relationships work. Relationships take work. You have good days, you have bad days. It's that time of the month. You know what I mean, ladies? But you know what I mean? So by what you're doing with porn is disconnecting from real life. And what he's doing here is in the ultimate act of connection, he is disconnecting from you. You need to talk to him honestly about his porn consumption and what's going on in his life. Because I'm telling you right now, there's probably something going on in his life away from all of this that he's deeply unhappy and miserable about, and he's using the porn as a way to overcome it. That's what I think is going on, and that is what is happening. Maybe I'm wrong, but you need to sit him down. You need to ask him what's up and why he's behaving in this fashion. Because that's the only way you're going to sort this out. Because if you don't confront this now, I'm telling you now, it's going to ruin your relationship. And it's going to make you resentful and you angry. And what he's doing right now is he's violating a boundary. And you are competing with pixels. And at the moment, I can guarantee you that when you're having sex, his attention is on the pixels and not on you. And that is a bad place to be, because in your own relationship, you're coming second to pixels. Not good. Good luck. Dear Francis, my husband thinks we should raise our kids with traditional gender roles, but I'm more progressive and want them to explore their identities freely. We're at a stalemate. How do we co-parent without pushing our own agendas too hard? You know what? I understand where people come from with this, whether it's traditional gender roles. I think you should let your kids be kids. And if you've got a boy and he likes playing with dolls, give him a doll. If you've got girls and they like playing with a car, give her a car. If she's a girl and she wants to pretend to be a princess and dress up in pink dresses and walk around with a wand and go, I'm a magic fairy, let her do that. This way of doing it, like you thinking like that you are going to be able to transform your kid. And look, it's nature and nurture, but a lot of life is nature. If you've got a kid who's effeminate, like a boy who's effeminate and likes reading and likes playing with dolls and dresses, that's what he likes at that stage. And that might change, but let him. Look, the thing that we need to remember is kids are idiots. They've got no idea what they're doing, saying or thinking. And it changes from week to week, day to day, month to month, year to year. Let your kids be kids. Let them explore. Let them play. Let them find what they love. Maybe they might be interested in doing art, buying paints and do art with them. What's wrong with that? Maybe they will love finger painting. Maybe one of them will like eating mud. Like, apparently when I was a kid, I was obsessed with trains. I was obsessed with trains. I loved it. And every time I saw a train, I'd shake and go, train, train, train. My mum didn't look at me and go, obviously this kid is autistic. No, just let me get on with it. Apparently I got traumatized because we went in to have a car wash, and then I was in the car wash, and then the car wash came over the car and I had a meltdown. That does sound pretty autistic. Look, kids are morons. That's my point. What type of person gets traumatized by a car wash? A moron. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious, but you need to think to yourself that what you are doing is you want these two little people to be the most authentic, best versions of themselves. And the best way of doing that is to give them a fucking beat. No. The best way of doing that is getting them to follow their own paths, their joys, and their passions. And the way to do that is just to let them be. If you've got a kid who loves football, maybe you've got a little girl who loves football, yeah, she's going to be a lesbian, but it's fine. Just get her involved in football. Maybe you've got a boy who loves drama. Get him involved in that. They will be what they will be. You might have a kid who's like, well, I love guns, and I want to go and, and I want to go join the army. I want to be a Marine. Let him do that. It will be fine. The worst thing you can do is put your own blueprint of what you want your kid to be on top of them. Because then they're going to grow up and they're not going to be authentic and they're going to resent you and they're going to be upset with you and they're going to be angry with you. And that is what you don't want. You want to nurture your kids and you want to make it. And what you want for them is for them to be authentic and have their passions and loves. And the earlier you can identify that in your kids, the better. So if you've got a kid who's bang into art and loves her art, get him painting, get him pencils, get him drawing, get him doing art classes. If she wants to be a ballerina, fucking, go and do that. You've got to make sure that what they want to do, that what they love is what you push them towards. And then that's it. And then they will go where they go. And obviously you tell them off, you give them a bollocking. You little shit, you do that, all of that. That's important as well. And bedtimes and whatever else. But also with your relationship, you need to come to a conclusion and a decision where it is a compromise and you both agree on how to parent. Because otherwise, what kids going to do, and I'm telling you this now because I know kids, because they're little shits, they'll play one off against the other. They'll play one off against the other. They'll be saying, oh, this isn't good, this is bad, this is whatever else. Oh, mummy said this, daddy said that. Because that's what kids do, because they're manipulative little gits. And you need to be singing from the same hymn sheet. And what that means is that you both agree on how to parent. Now, obviously, there's going to be deviations. One is going to be a little bit stricter, one's going to be a little bit softer, one's going to be a little bit this, one's going to be a little bit that. Fine. But you both need to agree on how to parent the kid. Because if you don't, it's going to cause real problems. And there's going to be fighting, and there's going to be arguments, and there's going to be left, right, and center. And it ain't going to work. So you need to have an honest conversation about how you want to parent your kids. The goods, the things you want to do, the things you don't want to do, things you agree on, the things you disagree on, and then go from there. But I'm telling you right now, if you say we're going to make this kid behave and live their life in a certain way, and they're going to grow up to be an accountant or whatever it may be, you're going to raise a miserable, angry kid. You've got to make sure that they are following their passions, their dreams, and their loves. And you've got to do it. Otherwise, it's going to go dreadfully wrong. Good luck. Dear Francis, I've been struggling with the idea of free will. The more I read, the more I'm convinced that everything is predetermined. Now I'm questioning every decision I make. How do I live with this uncertainty? Stop smoking weed, mate. It's frying your brain. Look, I know what you're saying here. And I'm going to say something to you as a 42-year-old man. This sounds like a young man struggling with life and free will, and is everything predetermined? And do I have any agency? Look, the reality is you don't know. You can read all the neuroscience books in the world. You can read Sam Harris. You can read all of these, right? You can talk to Big Dorco, Richard Dawkins, who basically believes that as well. I personally am of the opinion that actually that is not a good way to go through the world. It's not a good way to go, that everything is predetermined and there's no such thing as free will, because what you then do is deny your own agency. And that's not good. Look, we all have traits that are both positive and negative. And if you indulge one particular trait at the expense of the other, what that means is that you are going to you're going to be unhappy. So I'll give you an example. So I'm a comedian, which means I struggle with depression. If I don't live my life in a very particular way, I get depressed. If I don't eat right, I get depressed. If I don't exercise at least twice a week, heavy through weights, ideally 3, I get depressed. If I'm not creative, right, if I'm not creating and writing and engaged in projects, I'll get depressed. If I'm not being playful through my life, I get depressed. The simple reality is you have to. I know why you're thinking these things and you're ruminating on it and you're struggling with it, but I'm telling you right now that this is a blind alley, because it is not a good idea to think that everything in life is predetermined and you don't have free will and you don't have agency. Because if you do that, then what effectively happens, I believe, is you start being a victim. When I think the way to live your life is every day you wake up grateful for the fact you've woken up. Some people don't wake up. It's just the way it is. You do your meditating. I do my meditating every morning, 10 minutes, right? Bit of guided meditation. Love it. You then get up. You then have a nice breakfast, a little wholesome protein, and you go off and you do your day. And you go, this is the only moment that I have. This is the only time that I have. The past is the past, the future ain't guaranteed. This is it. All I can influence is today. So what am I going to do today to make the most of today? How can I be the best possible version of myself today? What is going to be the best possible version? And then from there, you then move on. That's how you live. That's the only way to live. That's the only way to move through the world. That is the only way to exist. Any other way, I think you're going to make yourself miserable. You live in the past, you get depressed. You live in the future, you're going to get anxiety. That ain't the way to do it, my friend. The way to do it is accept all we have is now. What can you change about now? How can you live in the now, in the moment? What can you do to maximize that? And by the now, I don't mean go out and smash 2 pizzas like I did yesterday. It was my cheat day. I smashed them back, a garlic bread and a pizza, and then I slept for an hour. That's not probably the best way to live, but it was all right for one day. Okay, so how can you live most effectively in the moment? That means eating clean. That means working out. That means being a good person. That means listening. That means talking. That is what you need to do. That's the only way to be. I think by focusing on these other things, what you're actually doing is denying yourself agency in your own life, and you're letting yourself off the hook. What you're really doing is going, oh, there's no such thing as free will. Fuck it. I'll have that deep fried Mars bar. Eat it. Oh, there's no such thing as free will. Oh, I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z, or I can't. No, it's a cop-out, mate. It's a cop-out. You can't live your life like that. What you're going to need to do is accept that you do have free will. You have, we all have talents and gifts. Some have more, some have less. Some talents are some one thing, some talents are another. And you are going to think to yourself, what do you want out of your life? Because when you die, it's going to be over. So what do you want? When you look back at what you've achieved, what do you want it to be? What do you want to get out of it? What do you want to say that you've done? And that's how to do it. Know that when you look back, you've got this allotted amount of time. No one knows how much they've got. Some people have more, some people have less, whatever. What do you want to achieve with your time? What do you want to achieve with your day? What do you want to achieve with this hour? If, you work really hard and you go, you know what, I want a day where I do nothing and just rest. Have a day where you do nothing and just rest. That's fine. If you've got a day where you've got a load of stuff you need to do the day where you've got a load of stuff that you need to do. But don't give yourself a cop-out, which is, I can't do anything. Because what this is it's you letting yourself off the hook. Make your decision, stick with the decision, move on. Every decision you're going to make, there's going to be positives, there's going to be negatives, there's going to be trade-offs. You know what? A decision could be a mistake. But as long as you made that choice in the best possible faith in that moment, that is all you can do. There's always some things that there's always some things that are unknown. All right, 5 years' time, you could have done it, executed it better. fine. But that's how you learn. You learn by making mistakes and getting better. But you got to be authentic, and you got to think to yourself, in that moment, did I make the best possible choice with the information I had at the time? If you did, great. Then do it. Good luck. But you've got to stop thinking and cut out the weed. It's making your brain rot, mate. Oh, is that it?
That was.
Oh, what? That was the last one. Thank you, Jack. So, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. If you like it, like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. We're on the journey to 10,000 subscribers. Bosh. Make sure to drop me an email. Francis Foster. What's it called? Yeah, that's it. Francis Foster Podcast at triggerpod.co.uk. And I will do my very best to sort your life out. Make sure to give it a rating. Tell a mate, if you didn't like it, shut your face, you're a slag.